Hello everyone, good morning. So in this session, we'll be talking about tools that we can use for online teaching. And just on the note of a pen tablet, I would just quickly show you what Vandana was showing. I'm just going to quickly show you. Please tell me if you're able to see the screen. Are you able to see the pen tablet?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. So this is a setup that I've done with my mobile camera. I'll shortly come back to this and how you can use this for your lectures as well. But this is how a typical Wacom Intuos model would look like. This is 10 inch, so effective area is 8 inches. Wacom 1 will not have these buttons. These are actually not required for our use for a typical lecture. This is how the stylus looks like, right? So when you write on this, you will not be able to see anything here, but it's very easy to use. It takes like just a couple of hours of practice. This is how the stylus looks like. The feel of writing would be just like how you are writing on a paper. So there's a very good friction. Also, when you install Wacom drivers, what you can do is you can open tablet properties, and you can actually, these buttons that you see, you can actually set this to do a particular function. So for example, while I'm writing, right, and I made a mistake and I want to erase, I don't want to again and again go to a particular tool where I have to select eraser every time, right? So that's a little cumbersome. So by adjusting tablet properties, what we can do is, what I usually do is this first button, I'll make this as the eraser. So while I'm writing it, if I've made a mistake, just click here and it'll erase that part. So this is one very good advantage and speed that Wacom tablets offer us. This is an Intuos model, but I would suggest a Wacom 1 model, which does not have these customized buttons. I'll go back to my presentation. Right. So I want to first start by talking about whiteboards particularly. And Vandana has already talked about PDF annotator, which is now one of my favorite whiteboards. But there are a few online boards which you could explore. So one such is called Chrome Canvas. We can go to canvas.apps.chrome and you can install this. If you can see the screen, this also has all the typical features of a whiteboard. So you can select colors, you can select the size of the stroke that you want to use. You have pencil, pen, you have marker, you have a chalk, and you have eraser. So you could go ahead and write something like, but what I have experienced, so I've seen this in many tutorials being used, but what my experience is that I find it very slow, that I find there is a lag. But you all are welcome to try this out, because it might be a problem with my system, but please feel free to try it out, and if in case you notice any lag. So this is canvas.apps.chrome. This kind of a whiteboard can be used synchronously during your live classes. So when you are sharing screen and you share a Google Chrome tab, you can use this kind of a whiteboard. Another option is Jamboard. Jamboard.google.com. Now, the previous one that I showed you, Canvas, that is not collaborative. But if you want to make a collaborative whiteboard, that means you also want students to be able to write and scribble, or you want each student to have their own boards that also can be done by using Jamboard. So we have recently used this Jamboard for as like a notice board for our departmental farewell. So what you do is you go to Jamboard, jamboard.google.com, and you create a new Jamboard, and all the typical features of a whiteboard you'll find here as well. So you have pen and eraser, select tools. You also have the option of sticky notes. So you can place, rotate sticky notes. You also have the option of inserting images. So you can upload an image, put it over here and start writing over the image. You can also have the option of inserting some special shapes that you would like, or you want to insert like while you are writing. So like how it was on PDF Annotator, I'm writing something. So again, like I'm facing a lot of lag in Jamboard, but you all may please explore this and see, because Jamboard is now included in our education suite, I believe, right? So it is accessible through IITJ email ID. So when it comes to collaborative work and a group of students want to work or brainstorm on certain ideas together, there this Jamboard could be a very good option to organize their ideas. Then there is also a laser tool, which will just stay there for a couple of seconds and then disappear. So these tools, pen and highlighter and brush, the options for colors are kind of limited, but then again, from a lecture or a brainstorming point of view, this serves the purpose. If you notice that there is no lag, this would be a good platform for collaborative work. So this was about Jamboard, and here you can share this Jamboard with whoever you like, and then they will also be able to make changes. So this was Google Jamboard. Next is Windows Inkspace, and for this I'll share my entire screen. Right. So Windows Inkspace is an inbuilt tool from Windows 10. It is free for Windows 10 anniversary update. And when you install Windows Inkspace, it comes with a lot of features. So on your taskbar here on the bottom right, you see this small symbol with a pen that corresponds to Windows Inkspace. And when you click on it, you can have different options. Like you can have screen sketch. That means whatever is going on your screen, it takes a snapshot of that and you can write on that. But particularly as a whiteboard, I'm talking about the sketchpad of Windows Ink Workspace, which is this. I have been using this sketchpad for past several years, and I'll show you why I particularly like this. One really great feature about this is that it covers the entire screen. So it gives a lot of real estate to write. There are pen options and stroke sizes. So if you're typically say teaching in classroom 308, now pen size 3 is suitable. From that point of view, there are a lot of color options. You have the option of choosing, I'm sorry, I think my system has frozen. Just one moment, please. Yeah. Is my screen visible? Can someone give me a heads up if my whiteboard is visible?
Yes, it is visible.
All right. So a lot of pen options, then a lot of pencil options, same color options are there for pencil as well. So you can draw diagrams and figures. There's a highlighter also present in different sizes to highlight certain areas. Eraser can be selected from here, or by default from my pen tab setting that I just showed you. I'm just doing my clicking on that the button on the pen tablet, and it is automatically erasing. So this is helpful in the speed of the lecture. Right, and made some mistake right away. That button. If you want to delete the entire slide, you have the option to use this clear all button. You can also save this particular seen this particular frame as an image. You can copy this whole frame. However, you cannot scroll like how it is possible in PDF Annotator to scroll down. It is not possible to scroll. This is what you see right now. This is the full screen. Now, one particular feature that I really love about this particular software is this ruler. So when you activate this ruler, you use a mouse, you can scroll and you can change the alignment of this ruler, and then you can draw just how you would draw on a piece of paper. And this particular feature is really, it is unique to this software because I haven't seen this in many softwares. So drawing straight lines. And it's very colorful, it's easy to use, and it is free in Windows 10 anniversary update. So this was Ink Workspace. By default, as of now, I have been using this software, but ever since I have started using PDF Annotator, it has made things very, very simpler. I have shared a link of a video that I made during the recap session that we had, like end of June, where it is very easy, like Vandana was saying, to write on PDF. And one very good thing is that this is the PDF Annotator that she just showed. You also have option to, if you're teaching maths or some particular other kind of subject, you have the option of choosing from all these templates or styles, right? And just go on writing, and again, shortcuts to delete, and just go on adding pages. And this way, you don't have to record everything again and again or share separate notes. You could just save this. And this, one good option is you do a full screen, and then all those unnecessary toolbars that appear, they will disappear. And then this is also now almost a full screen whiteboard, and it comes in very handy. You can still scroll up and down and continue to write. And you see some shortcuts on the left side. So I find Inkspace and PDF Annotator as very, very good and useful tools as whiteboards. So this was about whiteboards. I'll go back and see if there are any questions. Right. Next,
there is a question, Raj Lakshmi. There is a question on Jamboard. Is it available? Like, what is the...
Yes, it is available from IITJ Google Suite. If you log in from IITJ email ID, you should be able to access Jamboard. But the only problem I face with it is the lag. But it's a very good collaborative board. Other people online seem to have no problem in lag, but somehow maybe cache or something is the problem here. But Jamboard is, of course, browser-based. It's by Google. And it's a collaborative whiteboard. All right, moving on. Now, a lot of online tutorials that are there to, which talk about best practices and how things can be made simpler for an instructor. An equation, I think, Shamava, there are certain add-ons that can be inserted. You can also insert images. You can insert figures. You can write equation with your hand. You can write the equation. But if you're talking about an equation editor, I believe some sort of extension would be needed. A maths extension would be needed. So I'm showing Jamboard as an option, but if you want the typical Blackboard experience, the experience of writing on a whiteboard or a Blackboard with your hand, then a PDF Annotator and Windows Inkspace are two very good options. Now, a lot of teachers who teach synchronously often suggest that when you are in a presentation mode and you're making a presentation, it's very difficult sometimes to keep in contact with our students, right? Like Shomava was asking in the beginning, like when he's making the presentation in full screen, he cannot see the students anymore. He cannot see the chat window anymore. Right? So it's often recommended, if it is possible, to use an extended monitor during your classes. So say you can view all your students on one window on the extended monitor, and you can use your whiteboard or whatever you are presenting, maybe slides or something, on your laptop. So just an example. This might make things a little easier for us, but in case you do not have an extended monitor, in that case there is a extension called DualLess. I'll write it on chat, and I can show it here. This kind of an extension. It will split your screen into two parts depending on what kind of ratio you want. And there, of course, if you have a big screen, it's better. In a laptop, splitting a screen and then making it two, it will make it difficult for you actually to see the presentation. But like Shama was asking, if you just want to focus on the chat option, right? You just want to see the chat button. In that way, you can split a screen. And if you don't have an extended monitor, using this extension. It's called DualLess. DualLess, this particular extension serves as an extended monitor. Yes, Wacom is compatible with extended monitor. Now I'll show you what needs to be done in that case. So suppose I have connected an extended monitor, right? Now you need to go to Wacom settings. And because now your entire tablet is being mapped to the full screen, means your laptop and your extended monitor both, right? So then if you start writing on one screen, you will notice that the text is coming double the size, like it's very difficult to write. So it's important that we go to Wacom tablet properties, and there we set the mapping. We go to the mapping. So what will happen is when you install Wacom tablet, you will download the driver, and you will, on your system, you will have an app called Wacom Tablet Properties. You open that and you go to mapping, and in mapping, you select what should be the screen area to which you are mapping your Wacom tablet, right? So I have selected monitor 1. So monitor 1 was my laptop. So, and I have also forced proportions, and I want the full area of the tablet to be mapped. So I don't want it to share. So these options are there. Right? It would be recommended to map your Wacom tablet to one of these monitors wherever you plan to write, wherever you plan to use the whiteboard. So this setting would be needed for an extended monitor. Then again, if you do not have an extended monitor, please try out the DualLess extension, browser extension. Coming to video settings. Now, sorry, Dr. Arora, which one is DualLess you're saying?
No. So what's the spelling of DualLess you mentioned? It somehow did not show up on the chat window.
Oh, I showed it on the screen. So this.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
This extension, DualLess. It's a screen splitter.
Okay. The phone system. Okay. Got it.
So going to video settings now. A lot of us face this problem because it's very different in classroom. You can see everybody's faces. You have eye contact. Students are able to see you, most importantly. In the interest of saving bandwidth, if you want to keep your video off for certain durations, well and good. But if you want to keep your video on, there are certain things that you can just keep in mind, some very minor things that you can keep in mind to, make you look good on the video. So one thing is that when you place your webcam or your laptop cam, try that the camera is at your eye level. So if it's low, you can use some books or some boxes to stack below them and bring the camera to your eye level. You may not be able to reach the mouse touchpad. It would be better to use an extended mouse or a wireless mouse or a keyboard, external keyboard in such a case. Make sure that your face is well illuminated. your headshot comes in between, so that students would like to see you occasionally, so that they remain connected. But of course, if you're recording these videos, you want to put them up online because they'll remain online forever. There are certain things that you can do to give it a more professional look, right? Try sitting in a very well illuminated area. Say natural light is the best, but if that's not possible, you may use some sort of diffused light in front of you if the illumination is not very well. Right? In general, in practice, we usually keep cameras off, but occasionally students may want to see you. Again, we can set a particular place if it's in your office very well. Designate a certain area where you will always take classes. And normally, if you turn the fan off and turn the AC on, the noise is minimum, and noise should not be such a problem. So your normal laptop camera or webcam mic should be able to help you. Before I talk about the extension and the apps, it's important that at this point I also state that all the extensions and the apps and the platforms that we are talking about in today's session, these are just examples, right? It's very important that because we are sharing a lot of data, we are sharing screens, so it's very important that you are careful before installing these apps, what kind of access you are allowing these apps to have on your browser or on your account. Need to see that very carefully. You also need to be very careful not to share any confidential data, right, or private data using these apps. So that's a little bit of care we need to take when we start using these apps. But please go, these are just examples. There are many such examples and extensions available. So I'm starting with screen recorder, and like Vandana was saying, that in a synchronous session, students will be able to see everything, but what we plan is to provide a flexible learning environment, so each student can learn in their own pace, and which is why it is important that all lectures are also recorded. You can use the inbuilt recording option of WebEx or Google Meet, of course, but you can also use a screen recorder. And one such example is Screencastify that she said. Screencastify is very widely used by a lot of YouTubers, but the only problem is that the free version is free for just 5 minutes. So just 5 minutes of recording can be done. But there are a lot of additional features which I'll show you. So you go to screencastify.com, this link. We have included we will be sharing the links of all these extensions as well. So you go to this screen. I have already added it. You would see an add to Chrome option here. When you add to Chrome, this arrow symbol will come after it has been added, right? So you click on it, and these are the options you have. Browser tab. So you want to record just one particular tab. You want to record the entire desktop, or you want to record webcam only. You go to show more options. You can get drawing tools, and this also is very useful in the sense that, say I start recording, right, and I select a particular screen that I want to record on. It gave me a quick countdown, and now my screen has started recording, right? Somehow it said that drawing tools were not available, but just give me 1 second. After you've done recording, you stop recording, and normally when you will be installing Screencastify for the first time, it will ask you to connect your Google account with it. Screencastify recordings can directly go to your Google account as Drive. If you link your classroom, you can directly share these videos onto your classroom. You can publish them directly on YouTube. There are options to send as email. You can download or export them as MP4. You can also open this in an editor, and there you will see options of clipping, like there's some unwanted parts. There are some unwanted parts in the beginning or at the end that you would like to clip. So that kind of very quick editing can also be done on the Screencastify extension. The only limitation being that Free version will allow 5 minutes, and if you want to have a longer unlimited version, that normally costs some $49 or $50, but I noticed recently that there's an education license which is much cheaper, which was around $20. Normally what you would see is that when you enable and you start recording, you will see on the bottom left corner, you will see a bunch of pen tools again. Like, so you want to circle something, or you want to write something on a web browser while you are explaining. So for example, a humanities instructor may be sharing an article, right? And while you are scrolling in class, you're scrolling down the article and you want to highlight certain parts. So those pen tools can be directly used on the browser. Somehow it's not working right now, but it normally should. Yeah, it's not working right now, but I'll find this out and I'll come back to you, or I'll share a demo of this with you separately. So this was about Screencastify. The next one is Screen Recorder. This is absolutely free of cost. This is what I have been using all this time. So this is the extension. You add to Chrome, and as soon as you add to Chrome, you notice this particular icon that appears, right? The orange one. How this would work, you click on it, you say 1 or 2 words to test the mic, right? And then you start recording. You select the screen that you want to record and you click on share. Now, whatever we are saying or whatever is on the screen is being recorded, right? After we are done, there's option to end recording. So we click on end, and by default, it is going to save on my desktop in the form of WebM file. So it's a WebM file. Right now, normally if you want to use a video editor, you may want to convert this to MP4. So normal VLC player that we use, VLC player can also be used to convert or stream one format to another format, and you can convert it using that. So I've been using Screen Recorder app, this extension, because it's free, and it has helped in most of the applications that are needed. But of course, Screencastify is more professional. It offers much more features, and you are free to explore that. I have made a video lecture back in March on some simple tools, again, which I'm coming to, of creating video lectures at home or in your office, free tools that you can use. And here's the link. I'll share this as well. This is also included in the SOP. Coming to the mobile camera for live demonstrations, like I showed you earlier, the app that we are using, so we are looking for this kind of a setup, that we have a small, say a mini tripod on which we can mount our cell phone and use the cell phone camera feed to record or live stream some demonstration, right? So let me just quickly go to chat once. All right, no questions about this. Right. So the app, there are again many such apps available. One such app is IP Webcam. That is what I'm using. Let me go to IP Webcam quickly. Right. So what you will be doing is you'll go to Play Store and search for the app called IP Webcam. Then when you install it and you open it and scroll all the way down, you'll see this option of Start Server, right? So when you click on Start Server, you will see a screen like this. This is what you will see on your mobile screen. So what is black right now will be actually your feed from your back camera of your phone. Right? Here you will see some sort of local IP address written. It is this local IP address that you need to type on your browser. And when you type on your browser, this is what you should see. So this was the local IP address. It's very important to note here that your phone and your laptop need to be on the same network, right? And they need to be on the same Wi-Fi network, or say it's a data network, they need to be on the same network. When you open IP, when you type your browser, this kind of a page would open. You click on browser. Right, so I'm removing my tablet. Now, normally we use this in electrical department for lab demonstrations often, like in lab when we want to explain certain features or parts of our equipment to the entire batch altogether. But here you can also use this for your recording your lectures or taking your live classes, in the sense that suppose you do not like using a pen tablet, right? And you prefer writing on a whiteboard or on a paper. In such a case, what I have done right now is that I have clamped my phone on a tripod. You do not need to use a tripod. You can stack a few boxes. If you don't have a tripod, no problem. Stack a few boxes. Just make the cell phone camera aligned in such a way that it has it covers a proper workspace, and start with a white paper. You may want to, since this is your shared screen during a live class, you would want to go to this full screen mode, right? Before going to the full screen, let me just show you some options. So if you scroll down, say if the zoom level is not appropriate for you, you can zoom it further, right? You want to crop certain areas out, that option will be there. Stream quality can be controlled. Say light it's not focusing, right? So you can select an autofocus hold. So it is going to focus on, it's going to hold the focus. It can also, from here itself, you can turn on the LED flashlight of your phone. You can turn it off. You have other options like night vision. You want to use front camera, back camera, those options are there. Then there are advanced settings. So for example, you made all the setting, you got a clamp, and somehow you have got the perfect angle that you want to use. But when you start writing, you notice that the view is not correct, right? So it's inverted. So you have these options of mirroring, flipping, mirroring and flipping, right? So there are a lot of options here. You can also record, you can click photos, you can save photos or snapshots. So please free to explore this app. Now I'm going to the full screen mode. So ideally, when you would be teaching in class, you would want a full screen mode, right? So I have a marker, and now I start explaining. Lecture 1. If it's not focusing, you go back and leave the autofocus hold. Normally it will focus pretty well, right? You can also use this platform to make some lab demonstrations. So you have a circuit that you want to explain. This is how you can switch between. So while you are sharing your screen, you also have a video feed, right? And you can always keep on switching between your whiteboard. You can switch between your presentation, and so on, right? So the question that Professor Venkatesan was asking in the beginning, how can his whiteboard, like his actual physical board, and this PowerPoint be integrated together? This is one option, sir, where right now I have placed this phone facing down, right, on top for on a table. You could align it and make it focused on a whiteboard where you would be writing, and you could use a TA to keep on switching between your lecture, so this is your blackboard, and then you want to switch between this and the whiteboard, or you want to go back to your presentation. This should be possible while sharing screen. One thing to note here is that these apps very quickly drain your battery. So please try to have fully charged phones when you start with this. And sometimes normally I have not seen a lag as such, because I've conducted a lot of lab sessions and also live synchronous classes during the lockdown using this. So normally it should not create a lag, but if it does, please turn it off and open it again. Standard troubleshooting. So, any questions regarding this? So IP webcam is wireless. It needs to be on the same wireless network, but there are also other apps that can be wired, like there's one thing called share to screen, share stream using HTTP, something like that. There's also an option of Droid webcam. So suppose your webcam does not work, right? The webcam on your laptop doesn't work. So you can also convert your mobile phone camera into a webcam, either using IP webcam or Droid cam. So that option is also there. So when you are sharing screen or you're joining any meeting, right? So it asks you an option of which camera do you want to select. We normally select it by default. There you have the option of selecting some other camera, a Droid cam or an external webcam. So if anybody has any questions at this point. Yes, so I'm sharing my entire screen right now. We can share individual tabs on the full screen. I will be sharing this PowerPoint slide with all of you. We will also include all these URLs in the SOP document. Also, there is this, so I've covered it very briefly here, but there was this video, this video, which has some tips on how we can record very quick video lectures at home or in office. By this we mean that since we are looking for a flipped mode, right, a flipped teaching mode, where we are hoping that a large part of the material will be shared with students offline or will be shared with them beforehand so that they can study at their own learning pace and come to the class for discussion. So when we talk about discussion session, this recording a video lecture will be very helpful because they will hear you, they'll see you writing, and the interaction and the engagement that they will have will be remarkably different than from simply a PowerPoint slide. Yes, I'll share the video lecture link on chat right away. All right. There's also one thing that I have learned recently, I didn't know about this, is that at least on Windows, when you are on full screen and you want to switch to another tab, you do not have to click escape and, you don't want to leave your full screen slideshow mode, right? So you can use the option of Alt tab. Suman told me about this recently. I didn't know about it all these years. And when you click on Alt tab, you see all these open windows and you can switch. Alt tab, and you can go back in full screen to your slideshow again. Alt and tab together.